What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan, and I'm going to the draft. Here, nice and early at the Hard Rock Casino in Ottawa. Oh, I'm excited. It's FanFest. It's close. We're getting there. Finally, it was time to enter FanFest, and it was awesome. We got to see a bunch of current players as well as draft prospects arrive. And then, of course, they got to enter the purple carpet to all of us adoring fans. And the really, really cool part for me is that they were like super great. I got a signed Jenner card, lots of other signed cards. Finally, it was time to enter. We got into the Hard Rock Casino, and yes, the Walter Cup did make an appearance. And finally, we got these really cool rookie cards from last draft. The night opened with local legend and absolute huge Ottawa Charge fan Jamie Fine singing, which was awesome. And it was only made more awesome by surprise guest Gabby Hughes, who showed up to sing one of the songs with her. And she could really sing. Like, Gabby Hughes is a talent. Just listen to her.
Yeah, 'cause you don't want me to change. I'm safe for peace.
And after much anticipation, the night was finally underway when the New York Sirens made their first pick.
With the first pick in the first round of the 2025 PWHL Draft, the New York Sirens select forward Christina Kaltenkova.
We also had a bunch of drama when it came to trades, like both of Ella Shelton and Abby Rock getting traded out of New York. Those announcements absolutely shocked everyone in the crowd. No one saw it coming. But of course, my favorite part of the draft had to be whenever the Ottawa Charge made a selection. I mean, with every single pick, you could feel the energy. The crowd was always buzzing. And just listen to the best fans in the league.
With the first round of the 2025 PWHL Draft, the Ottawa Charge select defender Rory Gilday.
And that was my experience at the 2025 PWHL Draft in Ottawa. And yeah, it was a super fun time. Now, obviously, there was a lot more. I love the kazoo. I saw online, like, the kazoo break. I brought my kazoo, and I was not the only one. There were quite a few. Whenever Ottawa had a pick, a selection, you could hear the kazoos. It was awesome. Now, okay, I gotta show them a little closer. I obviously showed that I got a signed Jenner card. Lots of players were there. I got another signed card. Now, this one I really like. And René Desbiens, because even though, yes, I'm an Ottawa fan, not a Montreal fan, I'm also a Canada fan, and because I'm an Ottawa fan, I'm not going to get nearly as many opportunities to get an autograph from Desbiens. So that was really awesome. There were a lot of PWHL players that I got to see, say hi to. Gabby Hughes signed the fan chain, so I think this is now my favorite fan chain until, I don't know, one of the other ones gets signed. But I think this is my favorite thing from FanFest because it's just so cool and so unique. You could make your own officially licensed upper deck card. So this is the Your Local Ottawa fan card. Like, how cool is that? How awesome is that? And there's tons of other stuff that was just so fun. Obviously, seeing the players was, I think, the big draw at FanFest. But there was some merch pop-ups that were exclusive for the draft. We got to see so many cool things in the draft itself. Jocks and Jills was there. But my favorite in terms of like just what I got to see. When I go to games, I can see the TSN panel, but can't really hear it, right? You know, I'm sitting in my own seat. You could maybe try to get close to here, but this is the draft. It's different. You could hear basically the whole commentary. It was the best of both worlds. You get to sit at the draft live, see it happen, you know, get pictures, recordings, all the fun, cool stuff, and also hear the TSN commentary. It was awesome. It was spectacular. And the first thing I want to do before I even go into, breaking down the draft and, what grade I give teams and whatnot, I wouldn't be doing my duty as a fan. As a fan of not just this team, but this league, this sport, and sports in general, if I don't implore you to go when you get the chance. This is going to be a rare occasion where rather than talking to the Ottawa fans, I'm used to that, right? I always will sometimes say, hey, Ottawa fans, listen to me. I'm going to do the opposite, non-Ottawa fans. Fans from every other city. If you get the chance, go. Victoire, Scepters, Fleet, Sirens, Frost, Seattle, Vancouver, and any other future expansion team. If the draft is in your city and you have the chance to go, I implore you to take it. This is some of the most fun I've had at a sporting event, especially by far the most fun I've had at a sporting event, that wasn't actually like a game. Like, this was so fun. It was so cool. I got to have so many fun conversations with other fans, got to meet so many players. I got a picture with the Walter Cup. That is awesome. I saw the Stanley Cup at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Got a picture with it. One of the Red Blacks games, the Grey Cup was there. I got a picture with that. Now I've got a picture with the Walter Cup. That is so cool. And getting to be in the same room as it, getting to take a picture, getting to pose with the Walter Cup, and then meet a bunch of superstar players and get to see the future of the PWHL get drafted before your very eyes. It was an out-of-body experience. There were times where I would, take a video or make a comment on Reddit or Blue Sky or whatever, and then I'd look back up and I would just be shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm at the draft. It is beyond describing. And if you can go, please go. There were only really two minor criticisms that I'll have, and I'm going to get them out of the way right now. One, I wish there was just a little bit more food. I got hungry, and there was, a few more food trucks could have gone a long way. And the other one is just that, it's a Tuesday night. I noticed that end of round 3, and especially after Ottawa's pick in round 4, the crowd really started to disperse. And I can't exactly blame them because at that point, it was 10:30. And if you think of a Tuesday night Charge game, they're done by 10:30. Usually they're done by 10. 10:30 is pushing it. Normally, for fans to be in the stands of a Charge game for as long as they were at the draft tonight, it would mean that it's a playoff overtime game. And well, obviously, nobody's going to go home from a playoff overtime game, especially because as the game goes on, it gets more and more intense, more and more exciting. The draft, sadly, as all drafts do, kind of has the opposite effect. Obviously, round 1, round 2, you can't miss the first 2 rounds. Are you kidding me? These are top 10 players. These are players that are going to be the future of the league. These are our big impact moments. These are the opportunities to make big impact trades. When Toronto traded the 3rd overall pick for Shelton, it was crazy. But by the time you get to round 5 and round 6, can't even get a big blockbuster trade with your 6th round pick. Poulin isn't going to go for a 5th and a 6th. Now, a 1st this year, a 1st next year, a 2nd this year, a 2nd next year, and a player, oh, you know what? Maybe that's enticing. Maybe you could get a big blockbuster deal. A 5th and a 6th rounder, you can get a good depth piece. And a lot of people had work tomorrow. So I get it. I don't blame anybody who had to go home. But if it's possible to schedule the next draft on a Friday or Saturday, I think that would be awesome because then I think you'd see people staying late. You want to know how I know this? I remember when the Charge beat Montreal in a Game 4. Oh, well after the game was done. Well after the game was done. The party did not stop. I don't think a single person actually went home until after midnight. At the very least in the Lansdowne area, the party was very much active, very much still going. So yeah, I just, if it was on a weekend, it would have been just that much better, but only that much better, It was still like a 10 of 10 event. It was still something that I cannot recommend enough, even if it is on a Tuesday next year. If it is in your city, go. Please go. Do not rob yourself of this opportunity. And the prices for the tickets were very reasonable. I paid 15 Canadian dollars. That is highway robbery. Such a great deal. FanFest was free. That really cool card? Like, I'm going to show it to you again. Look at that. Your local Ottawa fan upper deck card. That's so cool. It was free. I just kind of got, like, you could just go to FanFest. My mom didn't have a ticket. She still went to FanFest, got to see a bunch of the players. She could have gotten a card if she wanted. That's so cool. That's so awesome. So please, if you get the chance, go. Now let's actually talk about what happened. The first thing I need to address are the trades. I think even before I need to address what the Ottawa Charge did in the draft, which I give Ottawa Charge like a B in the draft. I don't think they did anything exceptional. Maybe a B- because they didn't do anything exceptional. And with how our offseason started, you kind of expected something exceptional to happen. I think Toronto did some exceptional stuff. They were wheeling and dealing. The fact that they got Shelton and got Campbell off the books, wow, just grade A, no notes. Vancouver, I think getting Campbell's smart. Even though it's expensive, look, if Maschmeyer is injured to start the season, is Campbell gonna be the greatest goaltender in the league? No. Is she gonna be serviceable for 5 to 10 games until Maschmeyer's healthy? Yeah, probably. She could probably win like half or a little under half. If you start 4 and 6 in the PWHL, and then your star goaltender is healthy, you're gonna be okay. Trust me. So I think Vancouver is another really, really good draft. I think the winner, though, has to be New York. New York also, I think, is now fully in a rebuild. Shelton and Rock are gone. They are very young. They got a lot of picks. They had way more picks than anybody else. To me, with how they finished the previous seasons, with how many players they've lost, that screams, okay, yeah, embrace the rebuild. They're saying that like any team can win it. And look, I believe that. Maybe the Sirens are playing 5D chess and we're all going to be surprised and they're going to win the cup next year. But to me, this reads more as a rebuild or at least a retool. And rather than, being half in, half out and not being sure if you're in a rebuild or not, it's saying, okay, let's embrace younger, newer players so that in 3 to 5 years, if we keep only half of them, we're still going to be a competitive team. Which, yeah, that's what a draft is all about, right? Look, I remember 2020 for the Ottawa Senators. Was 2021 a good season? No. Was 2020 a good season? No. Was 2020 maybe the best draft year in Ottawa Senators history? Yes. Because you draft players who might not immediately be superstars in the league, but you project that in the future they will be. And the more players you have like that, the better. And if they aren't all superstars, if they're players that will be playing on your team consistently, logging game after game, a ton of minutes, and a few big points, that's a success. Stutzel, Sanderson, Gregg, boom, done. Put a bow on it. That's a really good start. And that's kind of how I feel towards the Sirens. Look, if they hit on only half of their players, they still did an amazing job. And yeah, what more can you ask for? So like I said, Ottawa, B-. I'm going to be honest, I expected a trade from us. Half the teams did make a trade, which I love to see. I'm very glad that picks could be traded. I'm very, very, very glad that picks were traded. And in 6 rounds with 8 selections, I think 3 trades, all of which were significant and send ripples through the league. That's awesome. Every trade, you could hear the gasps. People like talking, that just happened. Rock? Really? Oh my gosh, she's been traded? Like, you could hear it. You could hear the gasps. It was a drama. Like, I have seen, like, reality shows that had less drama and had less, like it was a soap opera whenever a trade was announced. Because it was never, like, a small trade, like, oh, they're flipping a 5th and a 6th for, you know, a slightly higher 6th. No. It was like, okay, big player, big contract, multiple picks, getting traded, getting swapped. It was the Wild West, especially through those first 3 rounds. It was thrilling. It was exhilarating. It is what this league is all about. That's what I loved the most. Tonight is what the PWHL is all about. I think my favorite moment was after Ottawa made their first selection. And the crowd erupts in chants of Rory, 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 before even lacing it up for 1 game with the Charge. Letting her know, hey, you're home. And we will embrace you 100%. You are an Ottawa Charge, and we are ride or die for you now. And seeing the emotions from family. Every pick. Seeing mom and dad tearing up. Seeing players tearing up. Because this was a dream come true. And that's true for the PWHL more so than in any other league. Because look, don't get me wrong. In every league, getting drafted is the dream. In every single league, hearing your name called in the draft is the dream. It's emotional. It makes you cry. It makes me cry watching them cry. But for a lot of these women, when they were little girls growing up, this didn't exist. Every year, they'd watch the NHL entry draft, and they'd see these young men have their boyhood dreams come true, and they would have that question: will this ever be possible for me? Will I ever even get the chance to get drafted, to have fans cheer my name? The jersey retirement, the championships, the glory, or is that just reserved for men? And tonight we answered that question. No. That's for everyone. That question was answered. So the dream of a league where young women can become superstars, can become household names, can see the first step of them becoming a franchise player, a hero for an entire city. We saw those dreams coming true. And for me, what touched me was seeing all the kids there, seeing all the little girls thinking, I'm gonna go first overall when I'm old enough. Seeing 8-year-olds think, yeah, that'll be me. How does that not touch your heart? And I'm studying to be a teacher, and nothing warmed my heart more than when I was telling them about the PWHL. A lot of them didn't know about it. Now, to be fair, a lot of them didn't know about the NHL either. They're very young. And one of the little girls said that they want to be in the PWHL one day. That is why this matters. That is why this draft matters, especially with these fans, these die-hard, loud, vocal, exuberant fans. This was an entry draft in the same way that the NHL and NFL and any other professional league has an entry draft. It's real. It meant something. And you could see it with every player that got picked, with their families, their friends. Friends who flew all the way in from PEI. Yeah, this mattered. And so again, I implore you, if you ever get the chance to be a part of an event as special as this, please do. Please do. Whoever gets the next draft, if you can go, you've got to go, because it is truly one of the most magical nights that you will get to experience as a fan. And I don't mean as a fan of your team. I don't mean as a fan of the league. I mean as a fan of sports, because this is what it is all about. But yes, like I said, I think the Ottawa Charge did decent. I did expect a trade. I'm going to be honest. I was expecting us to trade down and get a player, right? Like trade our second and third rounder for a third and fourth rounder and a player, because, you know, I mean, when they were showing what, you know, came in and came out for each team, you looked at Ottawa and you're like they could barely fit everyone that we lost on the board. Scary. But I don't think our offseason is done. If there's one thing that Hirschfield is really good at, and I know he's gotten a lot of flack, but there's one thing I can give him a lot of credit for: he knows how to make a trade. He's made some of the biggest trades in league history, and I think he's hit every single one. He's at worst broken even, at best had an absolute robbery, just hit a home run. And I think that might be what we see. A lot of people say, oh, Vancouver, how are they possibly cap compliant? It's possible that they aren't. It's the offseason. They might not be. And they might be stockpiling players to try to get beneficial trades. And you know what? If there's one general manager in this entire league where I trust going into a trade war with Vancouver, it's Hirschfield. Hirschfield's the one guy where I'm like, you know what? I could see him actually winning a trade against Vancouver. I could see him pulling off something. And we made some interesting picks. We and I think it was the second round we took the first real off the board pick, and those are interesting. Remember, Brady was off the board. Brady was not where he was supposed to be, and like, he's my favorite player. He's the captain. So I hate judging draft picks, because like you really don't know until it happens. But what I noticed is like 2 of our 6 selections were Russian, and you know, seems like the Russian league just is not seen as at the same standard as other leagues. So one of 2 things is happening. Either we are putting way too much stock into the Russian league and we're going to be disappointed, or we see something that other teams don't, and these were some really, really smart decisions. We got another goaltender, which, I mean, we needed, you know, but I also was like, you know, we also have Angers. We rode with Phillips and Angers, you know, obviously it was just Phillips, but we rode with that through the entire end of the season, the entire playoffs. Like, Phillips played game after game after game after game like a machine and was fine. And part of me wonders if maybe we're stockpiling goaltenders and trying to find a team that might need a good backup in the future. I remember after that pick, I saw Hirschfield on the phone. I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening. But the other thing is, sometimes trades don't happen at the draft, but they start at the draft, right? Sometimes trades aren't a one-day thing. You call them up, okay, I'll trade you this player for that player. Oh, okay, yep, done. Sometimes it's a long, ongoing conversation that will start at the draft. Okay, I just selected this player. I know you want this player. Let's talk. And who knows? Awards are tomorrow, so don't worry. I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about the rest of the offseason as it unfolds. There's still a long way to go before next season. And there's also a lot of football to go before next season. But as far as the draft goes, was awesome. It was great. It was magical. It was everything you dreamed the draft would be. And it's an event that's only going to come around, maybe once a decade to Ottawa? Like, and as the league expands, it'll be less and less than that. It could be a once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime type of opportunity. So again, if you get the chance, go. And as always, go Ottawa. Go.